Where are you? Push a bit. Okay. Right. Sit there again for me.
Yeah.
It looks as if she didn't press this. She only pressed that one.
Has it worked though, the previous one?
Now it's reading, but it doesn't. I think she pressed just there. She didn't press this one, so I don't think you recorded. I don't think so.
Is it recording now?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely it's recording now. But I hope okay. Right. Okay. So I don't know whether it's recording now. So before we just conclude, do you want to just briefly summarize what we've done so far before we continue now?
Yeah. So we talked about menorrhagia, about its definition, and the causes, including benign, malignant, and systemic. And then we talked about the history taking in menorrhagia, talking about how you kind of clarify certain points in the history, including sexual health, family history, and past medical history, and asking about how it impacts on someone's life. We talked about, in terms of the malignant features, also talking about risk factors, for example, late menopause, obesity, and hypertension. We used a case study and the guidelines to talk about when you do certain things, such as pelvic examination and investigations. We then went on to talk about the first, second, and third line management of menorrhagia, including an IUS, and talking about how you describe that to a patient, and hormonal treatment for it if that's failing. And then we kind of went off a little bit and talked about fibroids, different types of fibroids, and the different surgical management, and how, again, you kind of examine and take a history in somebody with fibroids.
Okay, and during the break, we talked over some points in HRT and menopause, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So because your objective for this tutorial is that you want to more in line with management of menorrhagia, contraception, and also you are keen to learn general women's health in more details. So anything, so we've been sort of going in and out of general women's health, mm-hmm. Right? So because we have a lot to cover, and we've been here for we've done about an hour or so now. Also, hopefully it's recording. I don't know. So I think we should just conclude this session before we move on to the emergency contraceptions, and I will just use a few scenarios and then we will stop. So for care pathway for early menstrual bleeding, this is a pathway which we have used a different scenario to cover. So instead of just reading the guidelines, we actually put it into practice so that when we see a patient, we can really relate to the guideline rather than just reading the guideline. But anyway, this is the care pathway. So women presenting with heavy menstrual bleeding, you take a full history. If there's no structural histological abnormality, you just start your pharmaceutical treatment, and then consider several pharmaceutical treatment if the first failed, then severe impact on quality of life, then small fibro less than 3 centimeters, then you do an endometrial ablation, then this one also goes down. You start summing if everything has failed, and then on your extreme right hand, if your structural or histological abnormality is possible, you do a physical examination, then you go through that line, and then you try and train an embolization. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And we said that you try an embolization and when to do ablation, so we know if it's greater than 3 centimeters. So can we just move on to the other bit that you wanted? So this is about emergency contraception. So again, instead of just going through the guidelines, we're going to just use a scenario. So this patient is Christian, she's 29, next plan now for 4 years, has sex only once within the last 3 weeks. Last sexual intercourse was 5 days ago, pregnancy test is negative. Once removal of this implant, I want to start progesterone. So what are you going to do?
So if you are removing the implant and it's in date, and you want to start a new contraception, then you can sort of change contraception and they will be covered. But if they took out and there was a delay, then it would be dependent on what day of their period they're on.
How many
as far as
years?
I understand it.
Okay, how many years is the NS planner?
3 years.
So how
Oh,
long
she had it
has
before. So she needs emergency contraception because it's not. It won't be in date the next plan. So she needs the emergency contraception and then counselling for restarting contraception.
Right, so if a patient wants emergency contraception, what are the things that we should be considering for the patient? What should we be considering for the patient?
So how long it was since their last contraception course. So they've got timelines basically on when you can use it. And then also letting them know about their options, so the fact that they have the tablets or the copper coil. And then there's a couple of things that would be, I think LO1, if you're asthmatic, you can't have LO1.
Okay, so before we go to specific one, what other thing that you want to assess in the history before you start thinking about which one, LO1, what other things you want to assess?
So you need to know what contraception they were or are on, and where they are in their cycle, so when their last period was.
Very good. How do you know where they are in their cycle? How do you calculate that?
So the first date of their last menstrual period.
Okay, so it's the last day of menstrual period. Today is 24th of October.
Yeah.
So the last, it said the last period was 3rd of September. No, not 3rd of September. 3rd of October. Today is 24, and they had says about 5 days ago.
So the first day of the last
So
one was
how do you go about to know?
So you'd go from they'd be day 21 of their cycle today.
Okay.
So they would be at risk of pregnancy. So therefore you'd say.
So when did she ovulate?
So that you can ovulate from day 14 to. I'm not sure about sure one.
That's because that's one thing I find out about most registrar, that when patients come in for emergency contraception, they don't really know how to calculate when the woman has ovulated, whether it is safe to prescribe or not to prescribe. So as we go along, I will show you how to. First of all, you want to know if the woman said, definitely I'm sure it's 28 days, my cycle is 28 days, then you know that she must have ovulated 14 days. So if the woman's LMP is today, you count 14 days backward. That is always constant.
Okay.
That second bit, you have the follicular phase and you have the proliferative phase. The proliferative phase is always constant. So it's always 14 days to the time that you saw your period. So if you count 14 days backward, that would be the day that the woman has ovulated. And for you to put the coil in 5 days after the suspected day of ovulation. So it doesn't mean that if it's 5 days, you say, oh, because you had sex maybe 10 days ago. But it depends on when the ovulation was. So you have to calculate the days of ovulation. For the IUD, if the woman is 28 days cycle, it means that 5 days after this expected ovulation, you can put the coil in. So it's only 5 days. So if the patient comes in and says, I want the coil, and it's okay, you calculated the expected date of ovulation, and the patient has sex maybe 2 days ago, but when you calculated the ovulation date, the woman is still maybe 16 days, 16, so you can still put the coil in. Do you understand? Not quite. The way you are doing your face. Okay, there's a chart I will say, but do you understand the bit from
if you see your period today, if you count 14 days backward, that was the day, irrespective of your cycle length, because that proliferative phase is always constant. It's the follicular phase, the first part of the menstrual cycle, that is irregular. So if you are having 35 days or 24 days, the proliferative phase is always constant. And the way you know that, you calculate 14 days from the day you see your period today.
But I suppose what I'm thinking is, in the context of emergency contraception, they won't have had their next period yet. They just have had their last period.
Yes, they've had their last period, but if you know their cycle, you know their cycle length, the history of their cycle length.
Okay.
Yes, so if you say, oh, my last period was 3rd of, but my period usually 28 days cycle, they will tell you the cycle, isn't it? So even though they haven't seen the period, I'm only telling you about seeing their period so that you can calculate 14 days backward. So if they know that my period is always 26 days.
Right, so it's just so you know what it is for that person.
You know
14 days before their normal cycle.
So from there you can find when they ovulated. And from there you will know if it's 5 days after, then you know that 14 plus 5, that's 19. That's the last day they can feed the coil. So if you're having a busy surgery and the patient said, oh, I want IUD, I want it now, but you know that it's not the 19 years in the cycle, then you can say, okay, let me book an appointment for you because I'm busy, I can feed the coil as an emergency later. You understand?
So you say you can only fit the coil on which days?
Up to day 19 of the cycle. After day 19 of the cycle, there is more than 5 days from the expected ovulation days, or 5 days the IUD.
So you'd go, so for example, if they came in today and they had their period on the 3rd. So you'd say, when was your last period?
No, you won't say when was your. So if the period is 3rd of October,
so
and you know, and you know that the patient is 28 days cycle. She say, okay, my period was 3rd of October, and I normally have 28 days cycle. So you know, if her last period was 3rd of October, it means that she ovulated 14 days before then. But then that's not important now. What is important now is that when did she then have the sex? So if 3rd of October was her last period, the first day of her period, and then she said to you that I had sex 2 days ago, and today is 24th. Then you have to calculate how many days is she in that cycle. The day she had the sex. So if today is 3rd, and she had her period on the 3rd, then maybe on 10th of October she has sex. So you know that 3rd of October was her day 1. Then so calculate the 1 to day when she has sex. So maybe she has sex on day 10 of her cycle, but she will ovulate on day 14 because it's 28 days. So if she's seeing you today 24th, so she ovulated when? So if you ovulated more than 5 days ago, and she's seeing you today, then you can't feed the coil. You understand? No, you still see not quite from your face.
So you can only fit the day. You can only fit the coil on up to day 19.
Yes, of her cycle.
Right. So because she's day 21, you can't fit it today.
No. If she's day 21 and she has had ovulation since more than 5 days, you can't. You understand?
But why can't you?
Because she has ovulated and she can have implants, so you are not supposed to feed the coil as efficient. You are not using it to abort. So that's
you could still give the pill, though, couldn't you?
When do you normally give the pill for emergency? How many days after sex?
You give it up to 5 for L1, up to 3 for Ingestrel. Okay. Fine. I didn't actually know that. Thanks.
So other things that you need to assess when they present with emergency contraceptions, consider possibility of implanted pregnancy. Would they be pregnant? That's why we're calculating when she ovulated and all that. So timing of episode of unprotected sex, timing is important so that you can pick which one which emergency contraceptive you are going to use. Is it LR1, which is 5 days, or is it Levonet, which is 72 hours, or is it the coil that can go up to 5 days? Yes.
So potential drug interaction. So medical eligibility criteria in case you want to do quick start or you want to give any other contraception. Yes. Explain all method options. Discuss ongoing contraception. Yeah. So you just give them one and say, oh, bye bye. You want to give them quick start on them. Discuss STI and arrange any necessary referral or follow. Yeah. So those are the things you should do when you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look and see. So with Christine, so emergency IUD cannot be inserted as we are not sure.
Yeah.
Because you don't know her last, you can't calculate her ovulation from the history when she ovulated, so you can't calculate it. So LR1 would be most effective oral emergency contraception for this patient. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just to show you when you are counseling patient about emergency contraception that if you have 1,000 women and you are using copper IUD, it's only one that will get pregnant. If you use only Prustone, 4 or 5 will get pregnant. And if you live in a gesture, then you have that number. So just visual representation of the efficiency. So you can use this to counsel your patient when they come in for contraception. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Then, this is what I was trying to show you in graphic form now. So if you have your phone, you can stamp it if you want to. Because this is, I was trying to explain it theoretically, but now you can see it. So,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so day 26 cycle, yes. If the patient is bleeding for 7 days, right? The day of ovulation for this one will be day 12. Because now you are subtracting 14 from 26. So this is what I was saying. Irrespective of your cycle length, your proliferative phase is 14.
Yeah.
So for you to know if the woman comes in and wants emergency contraception, if this is the only thing you understand from the tutorial, I'm happy because I find out that a lot of people have problem with knowing when to say no or yes you need or you don't. So this is, if you subtract 26 from, if you subtract 14 from 26 is 12. Yeah?
Yeah.
So this woman's cycle length 26. She ovulated on 26. So if she's seeing you on day 19 or something, then you know that, okay, you ovulated since day 12 and today's 19, and you need so 5 days to, yeah? So that's that one. For this one, so if you minus 14 from the, so it's the 14 that she ovulated because it's 28, so you're subtracting. On 30 is 16. If it's 32, it's day 18. So if you are seeing, if the patient ovulated on the 18, but then you are seeing the patient before 18, then it means that the patient has not ovulated, so you can give.
Yeah.
So that's what this is all about. So IUD can be filled up to 5 days after earliest expected date of ovulation. So earliest expected date of ovulation for this one, that is 26 days cycle, is day 17. For 28 is day 19. So for 30 is day 21. For 32 is day 23.
Yeah.
So with the diagram, is it better than my just explain it theoretically?
No, I understood it before, but this makes sense as well.
Yeah, you can see it visually, so it's more, so you know, so it's not just day 19. So because we're saying that you can't fit IUD in day 19, that's a generalized statement. That is if your cycle length is 28 days.
Okay.
But if not, so that's why it is important for you to know when they ovulate.
So this is only in women with regular cycles then, isn't it?
Yes, for you to be able to. So that's why if the woman is not regular, then you can't calculate. So you can't fit IUD because otherwise you'll be persecuted that you are committing abortion. Yeah?
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
So that point is, yes.
Okay,
so I have emphasized that enough. Okay, so this is Nadia, 17, casual partner for 2 months, chlamydia infection 2 months ago, training for marathon, LMP 6 weeks ago, multiple unprotected sex 3 weeks ago, next panel inserted 6 days ago, and then 3 days ago she decided to have another unprotected sex. Pregnancy test is negative today. does not want to get pregnant. So what will you do for Nadia?
I mean, shouldn't they have? Because if she's had unprotected sex in the last 6 weeks and she had the next one inserted 6 days ago, should they have inserted? As in, shouldn't you check for pregnancy before inserting it?
Pregnancy test is negative today.
Yeah.
She does not want to be pregnant, but she's been having all these unprotected sex and casual pregnancy treated for chlamydia about 2 months ago.
Yeah. I'm just a bit confused because if she had the next one inserted at that appointment.
That was 6 days ago. You had it 6 days ago.
Yeah.
But after that one, 6 days ago, then she then had unprotected sex.
Oh, I see. So in the period she's meant to be, okay.
So 3 days after the infection, she had sex unprotected.
Right.
So what is the advice you give them when they have next planner?
So you're meant to have barrier methods for 7 days?
Yeah, but she didn't.
But she didn't. So we need to know where she is in her cycle now. But I guess she's got the next one, hasn't she? So you'd offer her the morning after pill.
So let's see. You need to repeat the STI test for chlamydia because it was treated 2 months ago. Yes, 11 because to use condom for 1 week, to repeat pregnancy test again 3 weeks because she has sex less than. So even though it was negative, but that you can't say, oh well, no.
Yeah. And why 11 now rather than L1?
Good question. Why do you think so? What's L1? L1, usually if you want to give L1, you shouldn't give L1 as emergency contraceptive if the patient is using progesterone because it affects the efficiency. So that's why you can't.
Yeah, I suppose, because if they're on tablets, you ask them to suspend the tablets, don't you? Yeah.
So I have put here the relevant guideline. Emergency contraception providers should be aware that the effectiveness of L1 could be reduced if a woman takes progesterone in the 5 days after taking UPA emergency. So this patient has already. And emergency should be aware that the effectiveness of L1 could theoretically be reduced if a woman has taken progesterone prior to taking. So it's either way on both sides. So before and after 5 days. Okay? And women cannot take it when they are breastfeeding. So they have to express their milk for about 2 weeks for L1. So it's a bit rough because I don't want to keep you too long because we've been, you know. If you think it's too fast, let me know so I'll slow down. Or if you don't understand the rationale. But I just wanted to tell you the basic science of when to calculate ovulation. I think at the end of the day you got it, so I'm happy with that. So this one, once you get that principle, then any other thing you work from that basic principle. So here 22, termination of pregnancy 4 weeks ago. It was a medical termination of 6 week gestation. Have vaginal bleeding for 2 weeks afterward. Since there is symptomatic, since DOP, she has had unprotected sex only 4 days ago. 96 hours. Does not want to be pregnant. So what are you going to do for Andy?
So she had a termination 4 weeks ago. So this you can give her the morning after pill.
Just like that?
So she can't have an IUD because she's just had a termination.
Yes, so not for emergency IUD, it's already 4 weeks since to.
Is it getting at it might be retained products or is it?
And also you have to be careful because of when they are pregnant, softness of the uterus, so you don't perforate as well, as well as rest of that if it's not complete. So STI test, so it's not there. So you don't want to put something. So there's a lot of reason why you don't want to do. So they are there. Yes.
Well, they sometimes do, not in this case, but they sometimes do give prophylactic erythromycin, don't they?
It depends. It depends on your risk. If you assess the patient's risk that is very high, then maybe you should not. But most women in a stable relationship, I think this patient has casual partners. We said that she was treated for chlamydia, isn't it? 2 weeks ago. So you have, when you are assessing patient for risk factor, requesting for emergency contraception, recent TOP, previous termination, and casual partners. Those are the risk factors that we'll be looking at. Do I give this on prophylactic and just fit in the core, or should I actually wait for the result to come back? So this patient is a very high risk. No heart terminations, as requesting for emergency contraception, actually being treated.
Yeah.
So you have to assess the risk.
Yeah.
So you cannot have emergency as no result of STI. So how do you make your decision making why you decide should I give or not to give, apart from the baseline basic science that we discussed about the ovulation from different cycle length. So currently, is it less than 120 hours since last unprotected sex? Yes. If it's less than 120, additional unprotected this cycle greater than 120 hours ago? Yes or no? Currently, it's less than 5 days after earliest likely date of ovulation. You know, we're talking about, because then they will have implantation and then you are not giving it as then. Yes, then offer. If it's less than 5 days, then they have no ovulated, so you are not. So offer copper IUD. If you want to snap this, you can snap as well, or if you want to, you can always, it's from emergency contraception, March 2017, so it's up to you. So
can I take a quick photo of it? And then
sorry?
Can I take a quick photo of it?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So this helps you to
okay.
bit here.
Is there a one?
Yeah.
But it should be on that faculty of...
Yes, it's on Faculty of Sexual and Reproductive Health Guidelines, March 2017. So all the scenarios is based on this guideline. So, but to make it, just to make sure that it makes sense. So method-specific consideration, IUC can be safely used by women after uncompleted abortion. Women may be advised that they may benefit from reduced uterine bleeding when using levonorgestrel and intrauterine system. With medical abortion, IUC can be setted anytime after expulsion of the pregnancy. With surgical abortion, IUC can be set immediately after evacuation of the uterine cavity. So progestogen only can be safely started anytime, including immediately after medical surgical abortion. There is a paper on the last sexual health, I think the latest journal was saying that for medical termination, if you apply mifepristone and mifepristone and you then give immediately after 48 hours when you give mifepristone, if you then give mifepristone as well as depo-provera, that doesn't prevent the termination, that's okay. So that's what this is saying here, that if you give immediately, if you give this, it's not going to affect it. Women should be advised that depo can be safely initiated at the time of mifepristone administration. You know what they give during termination? Yeah?
Yeah.
Mifepristone. What does mifepristone do?
It basically makes the cervix is it dilate? It kind of, yeah.
Yes. And the other one helped to expel
it, yeah.
the misoprostol. Yeah. So that's what they're saying here. Now, if you give the depo, if you initiate depo at the time of mifepristone administration, it does not prevent, it does not cause prevent the abortion to complete. That's what they're trying to say. Yeah.
So with that woman, if you're saying she's had the 10ish pregnancy 4 weeks ago, she's having a would she have either of the pills now, the morning after pills?
Cool.
And then if she wanted to start her on a long acting, you'd have to give her the Levenal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she didn't protect herself, didn't she? She didn't protect herself. But we can't give her IUD because we can't calculate the ovulation there because the period is all over the place. So that's why, not because she just had determination, because you can see the guideline that you can.
Yeah.
So this is Sylvia 28. Should we stop after this one?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah? What do you think?
Yeah,
I think it's a long, I can see you're enjoying it, but then the retention starts to deteriorate. Yeah. So, yes, so you can take a photo of this if you want to, and then you can just work it out later.
Okay.
And then I think we should stop here.
Okay. I'll have a look.
Hopefully the video actually did something. Okay, that's fine. Right. So usually before you have you summarize what we've done so far when we started and all that. So usually what I do to my registrar that when we finish, they summarize everything, they write it down, send it to me to look to make sure that what we discuss is what have been retained by them, and it helps as well because then when you are writing it again, it helps you to stimulate your memory, and then you can copy me into it and send one to your your supervisor so they know what you have done. So usually in the practice, if we take another trainee, we summarize so we know what they've done while we were away on holiday or something. And also it helps you because you put it in your e-portfolio and also helps you to retain what you have learned, and also you can query something that, no, this is not what we quite said, so it's an opportunity to do that. So, yes, I think so. So far, that's what we can do today, I'm afraid. So can you just conclude and just summarize this bit as well? So